Before we react to some of the things that Salisbury had to say, the other stat that I wanted to bring to your attention, I don't know if you've read this one yet or not. It's pretty stunning. So far in the 2025-26 NBA season, the Oklahoma City Thunder have had, in terms of total minutes, more minutes in a game in which they've led by 20 or more than they have been behind by any score. Think about that for a minute. Because again, early in any game, you get down 8 points, 6 points, whatever the case may be.
Sure.
They've spent more time being up 20 than losing by 1. I think that's called domination in the business. You know that Phoenix team that we can't solve?
Yeah.
They beat them by 75 points last night. And I don't even think they had their whole team. Your favorite guard never plays in the fourth quarter. I don't think he's played in a single fourth quarter this season, SGA. Because they don't need him to. And they keep including, how is it possible that the defending world champions find more inventive and better ways to play routinely 8, 9, 10 people, not just, by the way, with the leads, but in rotation, then we can never really get past 7, 8 if we're lucky. How is that possible? Are all their people that much better than our people in terms of depth? Because depth's an issue for us right now, as we talked about.
They've got some good players. They've got some good pieces. We're happy for them.
Well, that sounds grudging.
It's very grudging.
Well, but it's undeniable, though. It's just.
It doesn't mean I have to unbegrudge it.
No, but
or appreciate it.
Well, I do appreciate it. Well, why do you not appreciate it?
I don't like how they play.
Oh, so you're back to you think they hit too much. They're too grabby and that kind of thing.
Yeah, and I have a lot of SGA baggage.
Yeah, you do. I will never understand that. I understand it to a point, but not to this point, because there's not an NBA big shot in the league who does not consider SGA one of the 5 best players in the league.
I'm not disputing that.
Story.
Oh, he's a wonderful player.
So, I don't want to go back to this because we're on such different pages.
That's why I was quiet.
Yeah. No,
That's
I get that.
I stay out of it.
But the issue is larger than any one player with that organization. That's the point. And I'm sorry. I'm aroused by excellence regardless of how you're doing it. We can have the philosophical discussion about what they, what their brand, if they subscribe to the working defensive theory that you foul start to finish so often that there's no way they can keep foul calls. But I guess I just can't be as begrudging because they're doing stuff that many of the things that in this town are frustrating people about the Wolves. They jumped through all of those hoops as the defending champion.
The effort is never in question.
Yeah, but that counts.
They're ready to go. It's never in question.
SGA played the fourth quarter against the Wolves. Okay, well, obviously that was a bit of hyperbole. The point is they've been ahead and dominated so dramatically. It's just bizarre. I guess I'm going to have to be on my own little island. I didn't even think it was controversial what I was saying, but apparently it is. All right. Well, the interesting thing about the Salisbury discussion is that a couple people said, well, it's very clear you're having difficulty following him and you're pretending you can follow him. I didn't think he was hard to follow at all. Now, it was wonky. There's no question it was wonky more than we usually are, right? But
that was a deep dive. It was awesome.
I thought it was terrific. I didn't think he was hard. I didn't think he was speaking above any of our heads, to be honest with you. Not just us, but fans as well. So if there are people out there who had difficulty understanding him, text me, I guess. I didn't find it that difficult to understand him. The basic difference of opinion as he attempted to lay it out between the two kinds of quarterbacking philosophies.
You saw me. I was running all the routes that he was talking about. Mm-hmm. I had the verts, I had the slants, I had the digs, I had the goes, we had the check down. It was great. It was inner ball talk. Now, would it be easier if we were watching it on a screen like he's talked about doing before? if he was up there on the whiteboard and drawing it all out.
Oh, no question. That would be another level.
Having the visual would be helpful for sure to totally understand what he's talking about, especially when you got the Mikes and the Sams involved. But it was great. It was good. And you can tell he does just eat, sleep, and breathe this stuff. It is his love language, quarterback play.
Yeah, there's not any doubt about that. And so I didn't think, because I'd have shut it down a lot sooner if I felt like, well, nobody's understanding this. I didn't think it was that. I mean, the difference is obvious, right? Is it in the pure progression, you're literally ordered to look here first, there second. No matter what you think you're seeing, if you just let your eyes wander, it is a very disciplined, sort of dogmatic approach in that regard. And in the end, the Vikings believe, and I think some other quarterback people, your guy Orlovsky is a believer in it too,
yep,
that it serves the quarterback well in an age in which defenses are disguised a lot more effectively than they once were. And the comeback to that is, well, no, you need to see the whole field from the beginning and let your eyes wander and train your eye to not necessarily be that robotic, right? That you have to go from, I don't care what I think of the corner of my eye I might see that might be better. I got to go from here to here to here to here. That's what, as I understand it, that's what pure progression means. Right?
Yes, exactly. You're looking at receivers as opposed to what different defenses might be thinking or doing. And I've read a lot about pure progression this week. I've heard a lot about it, more than I ever thought possible in a 72-hour span. But as every time I turned on the fan this week, KOC was doing a press conference talking about pure progression or Wes Phillips. So it was everywhere.
Yeah,
it was omnipresent.
It was. That's for sure.
And that's cool. That's fine.
A KOC session teaches JJ a lesson about pure progression. Vikings by 5. That's from Bookseller. What else we got here? Let me get to a couple other texts. We're going to go to the bottom of the hour. OKC is just amazing. I think Dan Patrick, DP, I'm assuming means Dan Patrick, I think did say SGA has not played in 13 of the 25 fourth quarters. Well, in the business, it's called exaggeration, but that in of itself
it's a lot.
Is pretty rare. And that's from Hugo Guy and just sort of explains precisely why, how unusual a situation this is. This just doesn't happen very often. And sadly, if you do believe in load management, it's the best kind of load management because
right, you play
and it's just based on you get to be rewarded and sit because you have dominated to that degree.
You get a nice little workout in. You get a good sweat going, do some cardio, and then you get to go sit down. You know, a bigger thing, though, and it's not just OKC that bothers me with it. I was at, as you know, the Clipper game on Saturday.
Yes.
And that's Kawhi and that's Harden. And I don't know if it's ever going to change or if I'm just going to have to move on from it or figure out a way to let it stop bothering me. But the amount of because Harden's a free throw merchant too, right? I mean, he's constantly at the line and he's flailing his head back and he's, doing the rip through. I think that's bothering me so much in the NBA because Luka, like all these guys do it, right? And I hate it. I hate all of it.
You hate it more. Yeah.
I know selling calls has always been part of every sport.
It has.
Everybody does it, pitch framing and all these things and every, quarterbacks, looking for the roughing the passer. Well,
that's what I don't understand because in basketball, it was once viewed as a skill because it's about body control. It's about because of your movements compromising the positioning of the defensive player to the point where he has no choice but to foul. That's a skill,
yes.
I would argue. Now, it obviously can be oversold. I get that, but I think
we've gone way too far with it, though. I think we've gone way too far with it, and it's too hard to officiate sometime. There was a stretch where there was like 6 calls both ways that were absurd calls. And what I don't like is when someone does it just to draw the foul. It's not, I'm going to try to score and be skillful and put the defender in a weird spot where they have no choice to foul me. I'm just going to bump them this way, then flail back this way, put my hand up, and expect that I'm going to get the call. That's what bothers me. Again, this is a me problem because it does affect my enjoyment.
Obviously.
Where you're just trying to fool the official into calling something that ordinarily, if you were just playing, that foul wouldn't be called. Like if you were just playing basketball, but I'm going to initiate this contact here unnaturally, fall back this way, and get a call. I don't like it.
Well, yeah, I'm not sure I accept your premise that the percentage of times in which great offensive players are doing that, many of them, is as high as you think. That's just.
I'd go back and watch a game from the 90s or the 80s. I don't think we're seeing it nearly as much. The head flaps and the shooting it early, the ripping through to draw a foul.
You're just more invested.
But it's not even
part of it.
Yeah, I don't know.
You become a Wolves rube.
Well, I've always been a Wolves rube.
Yeah, that's true, but I feel like it's
Timberwolves Breakfast Club, 1989. Waiting for Bill Musselman's autograph on my pennant.
Dan, there doesn't seem to be a disconnect between Finch and Conley. However, Conley brings guys on and Finch doesn't play them. It's an interesting thing. I wonder how that plays out behind the scene.
Brian Hill decided, for whatever the reason, to not play Darko.
It's a fair question at some point, because I followed up. We had more of this talk yesterday than the day before, and we were kind of in disagreement a little bit. I think you were not mad, but I think you thought Mitchell was a little too critical of the condition of the Wolves. And look, you can make the argument easily, this is what they do, and they are good enough that they can kind of turn it on, as exasperating as it is. It doesn't eliminate the possibility that they could do it again. But I'll follow up with what I got into yesterday. The difference between this year and last year is a year ago, they had a great bench. They had, the cliche was, we got 8 starters.
8 starters.
And now the problem is 2 of those starters are missing, or in a real sense, with 5 on the court at a time. DiVincenzo's no longer coming off the bench. He's starting. And Nickeil Alexander-Walker, one of the other big 3, ain't on the team anymore. And nobody has replaced him yet in a real way to this point. And that, to me, is I'm afraid that's going to catch up with them at some point. If they don't figure out some other configuration, and I don't know what it is, if it's not an acquisition, then maybe it's, do you consider Conley back in the starting lineup? I don't know. I don't even know if you could do that at this point. I'm not sure if that's a distinction without a difference. It's very, very difficult to say. Couple more.
Did you see Joe Cowley has us in on their guard? The Bulls guard? Is it Kobe White?
Well, it's an interesting
we
name.
Might be interested in him. Speaking of acquisitions.
You have to be interested in him.
Yeah, but not until maybe February, because as we know, we like to slow cook things. But those were the rumors today.
And the Bulls started as one of the great stories of they got off to a great start, and now they're in the tank. So I assume that's what it'll depend on. Will they stay in the tank? And if they stay in the tank, will they make a move? The question on him is ball dominance sometimes, but
Ant will fix that.
He can play.
Yeah.
I think he can play a little bit, and obviously he's younger, right? I mean, how long has he been in the league? 3 years?
I'd have to look it up.
Not much.
Not very long.
Aaron from Mendota Heights thinks he's solved the Guardsy mystery. JG standing up for us salty Wolves fans. I love it. Is that what you're doing? You're standing up for the salty Wolves fans? You sounded salty.
Maybe. Well, I am salty. I definitely am salty. And I'm admitting my Western Conference Finals Doris Burke bias, where everything SGA did was perfect and wonderful. And I mean, he threw a forearm at his own cousin and didn't get the offensive foul called in Game 4. So that will bother me forever. But even who's their big guy? The guy, I call him AI Parker Fox, because if Parker Fox was AI, he would look like him. The big dude with the beard. For Oklahoma City.
Who came from the Knicks?
Yes.
Yeah, I can see him, but I can't remember his name.
Hartenstein, right?
Yeah,
Hartenstein.
Exactly. Yeah.
I mean, what he did when Rudy got reviewed for a flagrant 1 and he was nowhere near him.
Yeah.
I just don't like trying to trick people. And it's not just an OKC thing. Okay. I don't like it. I just don't like it.
Well, here's
a personal preference.
John, the mail carrier, I have no idea what he's smoking. The NBA game today is almost unwatchable. I couldn't disagree more with that. And maybe that's how you feel about it. I couldn't disagree more that it's never been more unwatchable. Dan, between you and Common with last spring's love affair with Jimmy Butler, and now with you two's total idealization of OKC, it's remarkable. John the Mail Carrier, I love that you text in. I do. I appreciate your interest in the program, but I'm not going to apologize for lauding a team coming off the World Championship that takes their job so seriously with the ticket buyers, if you want nobody else, that they are continuing to play at a high level. They play. There's no drama about them other than the drama you're suggesting. There's no controversy. They play as good a team style of basketball offensively as you can see. So I don't know who John the Mail Carrier has been around, but you don't know the game if you honestly believe what you're saying, as far as I'm concerned, because the criticism that I might listen to is when an NBA team plays selfish. And that's usually from the John the Mail Carrier types. That's the complaint. Well, they don't play together. It's individual ball. It's just one-on-one nonsense. They're a symphony, and they play 10 guys, and they guard every night. We can argue about whether they foul too much, but if you're going to use as your example why you hate the NBA, the way Oklahoma City plays across the board, if you want to leave whether they're hunting for fouls or not out of it, they play the kind of ball that people have been pining for from a team standpoint. And I would argue that actually nationally, it's not a big enough story. And it would be a much bigger story if the Lakers were doing it. It'd be a much bigger story if the Knicks were doing it, or even Chicago, they were doing it, or bigger cities. I guess that's what we're talking about. But they don't have any kind of controversial, domineering personality, I guess. And I guess it's almost like they're too anonymous, except that they can play 11 guys. They've had games where they've been missing 3 of their top 5 players, and they're still winning by 40. So I that part I don't understand.
Their professionalism cannot be denied. And
so.
The bigger discussion I was having was just about the league. The Clippers thing is what bothered me, and I wasn't just saying it about Oklahoma City. I do think it's a league-wide thing. In terms of the watchability.
See, here's another guy that's clueless. I mean, SGA has a horrible game, all foul baiting. He has no soul. If you believe what you're saying, you don't watch him play on a regular basis. You can hate that aspect of his game. He is as smooth getting to the basket, as pulling up and getting mid-range shots, as effortless as any player, any scorer we've seen in the last 10, 15, 20 years. And he can run the show. He can do both. So we got some people who either are paying attention to the wrong people or they're not watching. They're mad because we can't beat them. And, that's fine. You can be mad that we can't beat them, but we didn't even come close to beating them last time around. It wasn't even close, was it? And again, we're not the only ones. Right now, it's like if you're grading on a curve, you can't be mad that you're not as productive as any teams as productive as they are, because what they're doing has only been done 2 or 3 times before in the history of the sport. I think their record at 25-1. Who did it? I think Golden State. Started the year they won 73 games.
Probably.
Whatever.
Probably.
Bottom of the hour pause. We'll get to the inbox next. Is that correct?
We've got plenty of submissions, but we'll always take more. JG at KFAN.com.
Russo Radio will join at the top of the... Will join at the top of the 5 o'clock hour, and I have rarely found in 30 some years of doing this, however many years, I have rarely found myself in a position. This is unusual for me, because usually what people are doing is you won't give proper credit to a team that's doing something well. This is literally the first time on a consistent basis via the text line that I'm being told, stop being so positive about a team that just won the World Championship and has started this season 25-1. it's like the world has tilted on its axis. And I love each and every one of you.
Global warming?
But maybe. But most of you, I'm sorry, you're not objective. You are bothered that this is the team that stands in the way of your team. And for me, one thing has zero to do with the other. And I'll add this. I have to. If the Minnesota Timberwolves played the exact same way that Oklahoma City does, the controversial stuff, the stuff that's not controversial at all, won a world championship and started the next season 25-1, all of these frauds would not exist. There's not a single one of them would say, you know what? I'm denouncing what the Wolves are doing. So again, if you want to take that position, fine, but you can't possibly be surprised that I'm not amused by it and a little bit perplexed by it. But go ahead. Let's get to the inbox.
It's time for Dr. Dan's Inbox.
Letters. Oh, we get letters. We get your letters every day.
Every Thursday, right around 4:30, unless the segment before we talk politics or Oklahoma City Thunder.
Jesus.
JG at KFAN.com. If you'd like to get in, maybe a couple of segments here in the inbox because we've got a 42 straddle. Dear Dr. Dan, do you think D. Falvey meant it when he said he doesn't have to or intend to make any trades? Do you really think that he won't trade either of his best two pitchers and or his center fielder? Or do you think he's just a shrewd negotiator who realizes you don't maximize the return by announcing that you need to make a deal? I have heard that some players like the idea of going somewhere else, asking for a friend, Jay Ryan.
No, I don't know. I don't know what to believe. The Twins waited so long to speak publicly about this that it's hard to trust. You start wondering whether the fact that they did when they did had more to do with finally coming to the understanding that we got to say something. And we can always say, that's what we intended to do. And then somebody came along and blew us away with an offer that we think will better serve the long-term interests of our favorite team. I think the one to watch, well, they're related, you could say, is Buxton. Buxton has been the guy who's constantly said, stop talking to me about trade rumors because I've got a no trade clause and I ain't going anywhere. He's said that over and over and over again until he seemed to open the door after last season to a different way of looking at things. And to a certain extent, I would think that would be the utter death knell. And so maybe the reason, if the Twins don't trade either of those starting pitchers, maybe it'll be because they know if they do, it's likely then they will be forced to trade Buxton, and maybe given the price he's at right now, which is still pretty reasonable, and the number of games he's now playing, they don't want to create that kind of ill will and controversy for which they know they will get ripped.
It's time for Dr. Dan's Inbox.
Letters. Oh, we get letters. We get your letters every day.
Dear Dr. Dan, nice to know Jay Gard has been genuine in his confidence in my abilities. 1 week I get a start. He thinks I'm the next coming of B. Favre, and now he is renaming my Brownstones. Him thinking on his feet like Jay Burrow, trying to... Well, I don't know this sentence. I tried my best behind a questionable offensive line and a disinterested top receiver. You think Jay Burrow can do a helicopter pick six pass? I doubt it with his broken down body. Wow. Go ahead, run me out of town. I think I have a year or two of eligibility left. Don't hold your breath as long as Jay Burrow holds onto the ball to watch me land on my feet. Don't even think about putting me on any type of practice squad. I'll be out of town as fast as I can move through my pure progressions. And everyone knows how fast that is. I'm still on the team, so I won't speak ill of them. But what did they expect? Drafting a quarterback that threw the ball like 5 times a game in college. All right, Dr. Dan, time to go grease the rifle to demolish the first-team defense in practice the rest of the year. Respectfully, M. Brosmer.
Well, here's what's interesting about that letter. So, who did M. Brosmer start against?
The Seahawks, correct?
Seattle Seahawks, correct?
The S Seahawks.
Who does Phillip Rivers, if he plays, who will he be playing against this Sunday?
Is that the Seahawks?
It's the Seahawks.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Good luck.
That's the scary part is S. Darnold maybe looks more mortal from time to time. But that defense is really, really good and kind of bone-crushing. And you do worry that if it's a 44-year-old quarterback, how soft are the bones, I mean, is he ready for the onslaught, P. Rivers? Because he's not, I wouldn't call your guy, M. Brosmer, incredibly mobile. But I would say he's probably more mobile than P. Rivers at age 44 years old. So
let's hope so.
If he's going to get if the pass rush gets to him, he's going to go down. He's going to go down hard, and then maybe you have to worry for his life. M. Brosmer, regardless of what happens, I think eventually he'll. Here's the thing on M. Brosmer. Whether it's here or someplace else, I think he will keep getting on rosters
for sure.
Now, will he ultimately ever have the chance to start? I want you to take this in the right way because I know you're a Brosmer guy. I think it's probably more likely that it would have to be via injury than necessarily he goes to camp and he wins the job. I think, and that might not even be fair to him. That might be underplaying what he can do. My guess is, but sometimes you know how this works. Players get hurt, and then we got to play somebody. Brosmer's next man up, and he comes in, or another quarterback, and puts together 3 good games in a row. And suddenly, even if he can't continue to play there, it opens the door to the possibility of somebody else saying, you know what,
sure,
we're starting over. Maybe we'll take a look at M. Brosmer.
It's time.
Let's do one more quick one here.
Dan's Inbox.
I need to correct myself, by the way. Another agitator. Thunder are not 25-1, Dan. They're 24-1.
For now.
For now.
Dear Dr. Dan, you were talking about one of my movies recently. I appreciate your love for planes, trains, and automobiles. Coincidentally, a scene from that movie reminds me of your Timberwolves squad. There's a scene where a driver screams at Jay Candy, "You're going the wrong way." In my opinion, the Wolves were better 2 years ago than last year, and were better last year than they are this year. How do they turn the car around before it bursts into flames and they're left driving a smoldering wreck down the playoff one-and-done highway? This from S. Martin. The first time, S. Martin. Planes, trains, and automobiles.
Oh, God, yeah. Well,
they're drunk. How do they know where we're going?
yeah, those are good scenes. That's the tough part about evaluating this team. It really is. You don't want to overreact, but their job is to be sure that inertia doesn't set in and they don't just fall back on, we've been here before. And even though I don't like that we turn it on the way we do, we are capable of turning it on. But I'll say again, I don't even think we have the same mixture of players that we did as recently as a year ago, and that worries me. So it's, to me, again, there's 2 choices. One, you consider a big move, and maybe it is for who's the Bulls guard?
Kobe White.
Who might. I mean, that was more practical, right? Than James Harden and who was the other guards?
Kyrie.
Kyrie and even Ja.
Ja.
And I think less baggage in his case than with Ja. Or Finchie's got to find a way to keep throwing the kids out there. Now, here's the other possibility. What if one of the other possibilities is they're not as good as we thought they were?
Yeah.
That can be, it's the old deal of like, on Dilly. Now, couldn't you make the argument on Dilly that the best thing that the Wolves could have done even last year, and I don't know how the rules work on this when it's a number 1 pick, but wouldn't he have been better served going to minor league basketball?
Probably. I mean, Berenjay's going there right now. A first-round pick can go there. Yeah.
I don't know how all that works, but in all honesty, it looks like he's one of those guys who, if he has it in him, he just needs to go out there and play 42 minutes. And you obviously can't play him 40 minutes or even 30 minutes right now. They don't feel comfortable doing that. And so I'm trying to figure out, how do you get out of the box with Dilly? How do you get to that other place where then he becomes more viable? I don't know. I mean, we're all waiting for the light bulb to go off in his head, but it hasn't so far.
We have plenty more to get
we do have to break. You're
in
right.
our second segment.
Let's get caught up. I'll continue to read a number of good texts that are coming in, and then we'll prepare for Russo Radio. Big showdown game for your Minnesota Wild tonight against the hated Dallas Stars.
It's time for Dr. Dan's Inbox.
Letters
part two right now?
We have so many, like, in the same topic.
All SGA related?
No, there's a few SGA related. We may get to those. But I think all that the inbox today has done is affirm to me that we made the right call on the Snonami name yesterday.
Okay.
Dear Dr. Dan, haven't been a consistent listener of the program, but I would love to compliment your pure progression of your show. Your ability to go from politics to the Thunder to the Vikings is quite impressive. Jay McCarthy. Dear Dr. Dan, you are the ultimate passer pure progression expert. So let me ask you this, and this actually I think you need to respond to.
All right.
What type of progression does a quarterback go through when C. Stallions provides you with the defensive play ahead of time? Would that be considered the umpire progression? Sincerely, the Big Ten in 2023.
Who did that? Was there a text yesterday after you left that was Stallions related? Might have been during, I think it came in when Mace was on. You left during Mace, right? Didn't you leave about 4:30?
I did, yes.
Yeah, there was one of those there too. I don't even
Being
know how
affiliated with that era of Michigan right now is not good for anybody.
No.
Including Jay McCarthy.
No, it isn't. I mean, I'm again going to try to take the high road, and I'll probably get ripped for it because I've apparently been too positive today. If Jay McCarthy ends up not being what we all hoped he would be when we drafted him, it'll be an easy, conspiracy theory to say, well, I think that might have helped him a little. But I'm going to try to think above that and think it'll have more to do with the fact that he might be another example of a really good college quarterback who just couldn't make enough of the throws on a consistent enough basis, couldn't be a pure progression guy enough to end up being a star at this level. But it's what we said before. When things like this have come up, lay back up. If J.J. McCarthy had a great season, and or if, let's say, next year he's the starter and he's wonderful, then this stuff goes away fast, right? Very fast. The jokes are not going to be as relatable to people to say, he's not as good because he doesn't know the plays, or he no longer has foreknowledge of what kind of defensive formation. Don't have to worry about it being disguised because he knows what it's ultimately going to be. So that's what happens when you don't play quite as well. Every conspiracy known to man will come forward. If you're great, then people will say, well, maybe they did cheat, but it's obvious he's also pretty damn good.
Last one, by the way, we've got no fewer than 8 that included pure progression in the letter somewhere. And I'm sorry I couldn't get to everybody that wrote a pure progression letter to Dr. Dan's inbox, but I just want to say that I have seen all of them. I appreciate all of them. I couldn't get to all of them, unfortunately, but I will get to this one.
Okay.
Dear Dr. Dan, can you tell whomever drafts me I am much more than just a pure progression passer? F. Mendoza. F. Mendoza.
Well, before we knew, because Sunday sermons took place before the most recent J.J. McCarthy start.
It did?
So context, it matters. So part of the Sunday bit was, should we be flopping for Fernando? And I'm actually not a guy who believes in tanking anyway.
Right.
And I don't even think NFL tanking is very, very difficult. There's such a thing as tanking responsibly, I think. But I'm going to try to rise above my my cream and crimson colored glasses when it comes to university football. I love the way the kid throws. Now, there are people who are bothered by his demeanor after games. They think he's too goofy. They may be bothered, I guess, in some cases by the religious message because it's very front and center with him.
Yeah,
and he almost comes off like he was half, after the game, he was just like talking in cliches. I got to tell you something. That might make him at the next level less interesting for a radio show like ours, week to week. But I also actually think it means there's going to be less chance that there's ever going to be anything controversial about anything he does that's going to get in the way, like pouting, moping. If he doesn't make it, it's going to be just because he's not good enough or maybe not mobile enough. But the throws he has made in 4 games this year with the game on the line, those are big league National Football League throws.
Yes.
I mean, and he's big, too. I think he's like 6'4", 6'5". He's not really mobile, although he's run pretty well in college. But
Heisman finalist.
I don't know what approach they use at Indiana University to the offense. All I know is when they needed to have like not a check down pass, but a 25-yard laser, a dart.
He'll throw it.
He threw it.
It's time for
All right, last one.
Dan's Inbox.
And I did not write this one.
But you could have.
I did not write this one.
All
I
right.
just want to throw that out there. I don't write any of them.
Yeah.
Dear Dr. Dan, thank you for your support. Nobody understands how dangerous it is out here. Can't tell you how many times I've tripped over a door threshold. Crazy how dangerous those are. And what about tree roots that move sidewalks? Don't get me started. And I'll never go to the state fair of any kind because those people walking by with those strollers, they bump into you, you hit the ground immediately. It's weird that I'm a world-class athlete and have absolutely no balance, but it is what it is sometimes, Dr. Dan. Thanks for your support. S.G. Alexander.
You couldn't help it, could you? You had to do it. It's clever.
Somebody took the time.
It's very, very well done. It's very, very well done. There's no question
I
about
do
that.
want you someday to watch his rookie season highlights with the Clippers.
Okay.
They're breathtaking.
As in what sense? You think he wasn't doing that yet? He hadn't developed that part yet.
It was the way you can see why.
He wasn't as prominent a player either.
I don't know. He's pretty
Everything
good.
is now watched with him. I don't want to relitigate it because we're on. There's very few things we disagree on. We have found 2. That would be one. And I'm again going with every NBA analyst I respect. Even those who occasionally do say, look, there's some calls, because I will grant, he's very subtle and good about not extending the arm to create space. But here's what everybody says. Be honest with you. Everybody I know says that's the key to getting that call, whether you're SGA or not. It's the subtle ability to not extend. We say this about wide receivers. Or even defensive backs, it's the extension of a push as opposed to close contact. So I still believe that a lot. You may be the purist, but there's a lot of people here, and now they're turning it into. Well, I didn't say they weren't great. I'm just saying I don't want to watch them. Fine, but that's a different subject. Aesthetically, you can have who you like to see or who you like to watch, but then don't be fraudulent about saying no team basketball in the NBA. They don't share the ball. They're always worried about their individual stats because they are the antithesis of that. Right? Maybe to the point of they bore people too much because they don't have enough other stars. All right, top of the hour break, Russo Radio. That's what's coming up next?
That is the plan.
Outstanding. We'll do that, and then we'll prepare for... we're out at 5:45.
We are. You got it.
So let's talk some puck. Big game tonight for your favorite hockey team. I've got some material in that regard for Russo next. Is indeed back with us. The Wild back in action tonight against the Dallas Stars. I had pulled this story to discuss earlier. Now, I apologize for the fact that it's not an athletic story, okay? But it's serving a purpose in terms of the message I'm going to try to convey to you. This is out of CBS Sports. With each passing day, it looks more and more like hockey fans will get a prize fight between 2 heavyweights in early May. That's because the Dallas Stars have started to match the mighty Colorado Avalanche in this NHL season. For weeks now, the Lanch have sat atop the NHL power rankings, lost a total of 2 games in regulation. I don't even think about moving them. They just stay fixed at number 1. However, wasn't the case this week. Stars are making a real case to be our top team as they meet the level of their Central Division rival. Dallas has won 4 in a row, 8-0-2 in its last 4. 8-0-2 in its last 4. That math, even I know that math doesn't add up. The Stars haven't lost in regulation since November 18. It's already getting me excited for the inevitable playoff clash between these two Stanley Cup contenders. I bring this up because obviously the Wild are playing the Stars tonight, and I keep dreaming about a day. And even if we have to cheat to get there, if we have to coax calls, the penalties that we don't even deserve, where we are considered one of those heavyweights, right? Or we're considered one of those teams that everybody else is shooting for, because it does sound like that's what Dallas represents. And I assume in the meantime, you'd say, well, the next best thing is, all right, knock some of these teams off every once in a while to try to sort of build yourself to eventually getting in that kind of rarefied air, correct?
Yeah, no doubt. I mean, that is the concern, obviously, with the type of playoff format that's in the NHL, is that, last year the Wild went out down to the other bracket and played Vegas, and actually played quite well and could have easily won that series, but they obviously didn't. But it just seems like, you're inevitably in this type of playoff format going to always, now it's cyclical, but you're always going to play Colorado or Dallas, it seems, in the first round. And right now that absolutely looks like the case. The Wild, unless they have a huge meltdown, they are in a position where it really looks like they're going to finish third in the division. And Dallas or Colorado are going to finish one or two. So you're playing one of those two teams. Now, if you're a Wild fan, you might want to just play the Avalanche, because the Wild have beaten the Avalanche twice, only lost to them once in their playoff tenure, and have never beaten the Dallas Stars in the playoffs. The Dallas Stars are a great hockey team. They've been building toward this. They are a true Stanley Cup contender. This is a team that's got one regulation loss all season on the road. And their goal differential is outstanding. They get great goaltending. Their blue line is outstanding. They're just up and down the lineup, really a team. And they just lost Sagan for the season, so they're going to get that cap hit to go out and make some significant moves. So they're also going to add, and so they are going to be a true contender for any team that's going to play them in the first round. And you're right. The Wild, at some point, they've got to beat any in the first round to start to be considered amongst the best.
Can you give us what do we have in terms? I know you're not with the club at this moment. Until I'm told, in fact, that you're in a place that is even colder than the Twin Cities are going to be this weekend. Is that correct?
Yeah, minus 22, and I had to run to over at Team USA hotel at I think 2:00 or 1:00 for a sit down with their coach, and I had to get to a meeting on a Zoom back at my hotel. So instead of taking the Skyways, I decided to just walk 2 blocks and thought I was going to die. Because I walked from the Skyway to that hotel. I did not go with a jacket or anything, but I had to get to this meeting. So it was a nightmare getting here. It's the coldest I think I've ever been in my life. Thought I was going to croak. But yeah, Joe Smith has been, he just was on the 4-game road trip, and Joe has got this 3 of the 4 games on this homestand because I'm away from the team, and he's been doing a tremendous job. And he was at the morning skate today and reported the injuries, and Rossi was back on the ice, but no timetable for him. In fact, I talked to somebody close to Rossi, and I think it even might be pushing it for him to play this weekend. So we'll see. A lot of it's going to be depending on how he plays, but it's a long season, and you do not want him re-aggravating this injury because it was a broken bone that needs to heal fully, and it just would be ridiculous to me to force him in the lineup as injured as they are. Foligno's still out with the lower body injuries and skating. Hinostroza had that major lower body injury that he suffered in Chicago with Foligno in that same game, not playing. And Zuccarello, who were both dinged the other night in Seattle. In the head area, they've both been put on IR, which tells me that they're probably in concussion protocol. And with IR, you have to miss at least 7 days, so they're not even eligible to return until next Tuesday against the Washington Capitals.
I want you to weigh in on the Zuccarello hit. Louis thought it was a perfectly good, clean, hard hit that people are overreacting to. It's been one of his pet peeves that he thinks one of the changes in the league. He believes, now this could be wishful thinking, but that in his day there was a willingness to sort of grudgingly accept a good, clean hit not being something that you had to exact revenge for. It was the cheaper plays that obviously he didn't like. but he thinks that it's changed, that there's a cacophony where teams take offense to a hard hit that is absolutely legal, as opposed to saying, okay, they got that one. We'll try to come back later. What did you make of it?
Well, first of all, I don't even know how to spell the word cacophony, so I will figure out how to spell that. I'm thinking it's like probably CACO, probably PHONY. Did I get it right?
That's very good. Yeah, I think.
All right, so I'm going to throw that into one of my next articles just for, you know what, and giggles. What a great word. I mean, I thought it was a clean hit. Clean hit, there's different perspectives on what a clean hit is. He took advantage of a vulnerable player there, but his job is to eliminate the player, and he sure did that. Unfortunately, Zuki went flying, and his head, I think, took the brunt of the hit, and also probably was exasperated by him hitting the ice. In a lot of leagues, if you get any part of the head, you're out of the game. That's not the rule in the NHL. The NHL is that some place where the hitting the head is unavoidable. And in this one, if the principal point of contact is not the head, and I think there's one view that clearly shows that originally it was shoulder to chest, that it's just most likely going to brush off the head as well. Now, there's definitely a debate that in today's day and age of science and how bad head injuries could affect you later in life, that anything to the head should be a non-negotiable thing, and you should be kicked out of the game and suspended and all that stuff. That's not the rule in the NHL. So letter of the law in the NHL, it's clean. In terms of the other subject and the word cacophony, I've covered the league a long time. I do think that now become sort of an epidemic that any hit you have to exact revenge for. But that was also the case in the 90s when I started too. If a guy got taken advantage of, it's not the player's job on the ice to just figure out right away, all right, is it clean or not? I think anybody from the Wild's bench that saw Zuccarello go down that way felt like it was a dirty hit and needed to be taken care of. So I have absolutely no qualms whatsoever with the way that guys like Kirill Kaprizov and Danila Yurov reacted in the moment. When you see a beloved teammate have such a scary hit like that, I don't think it's up to Danila to say it was the principal point of contact to hit. I thought that Danila Yurov, for the rest of his time in Minnesota, gained incredible amount of points for the way that he reacted there. It truly made me respect him more. And I already, as Wild fans know by reading my writing, have an incredible amount of respect for that kid. So, and Kirill, he doubted the relationship and the friendship that he has with Matt Zuccarello and how much he cares for Matt. Right. We saw it there. So, Louis is 100% right. But I also have I think that most fans would want teammates to react to a teammate getting hit like that badly.
Yeah, that's
what the Wild did.
Right. That's almost like a different subject. I get that part of it too. Do you know who's in net tonight? I feel bad asking you these questions. I know you do pay attention, even though you're not there. Who's
Gus Gustafson. And I actually thought I had a feeling that when Joe would go to the morning skate that would be what he would tweet out, because just felt me that the last time that the Wild went into a game against Dallas, that they were absolutely devastated by injury. They started Wallstedt in a second NHL start, and it was a disaster. And they put him in a spot where John Hines actually went to the back of the plane on the flight home and apologized to him and to make sure that he was okay, because they put him in an unenviable position because they didn't want to, because their other goalie was hurt, so they had to call him up, and they, on a second of back-to-back, a Minnesota-Dallas second of back-to-back, I think it was Gustafson that they didn't want to start. It was either Gus or Fleury that was hurt. So I didn't think that with the number of injuries the Wild have tonight that they would put him in that position. But the other thing is, as bad as the Wild have been against the Dallas Stars, not winning a regulation game against them since 2021, Gustafson's numbers are better than any goalie in the league against the Dallas Stars. He's got a 201 goals against average and a 937 save percentage. That's amongst active goalies the best that any goalie with at least, I think, 6 starts has played against that team. So it's going to be a tough game tonight, but I think they wanted to go with the veteran for that reason. This is not, as some people on Twitter pointed out, John Hines punishing Jesper Wallstedt for not being on top of his game against the Canucks. This was, I think, a way to probably put Gus in a better position on this homestand and go with the veteran that has, one, played Dallas well, but two, might be able to handle being behind such a shorthanded lineup that the Wild are going to have iced tonight at Grand Casino Arena.
Do you trust the Dallas Stars on the level that from the story that I quoted from? I mean, are they? Give us a scouting report of the team that the Wild will see tonight.
I do. I think that Dallas. In fact, we just did a poll in the Athletic where we polled all the hockey writers to give their predictions, and I have Dallas winning the cup. I just think that they're the best team in the conference and the league right now. I think they're the deepest team in the conference and the league, and just knowing that Colorado has lost 2 games in regulation. The Avalanche right now, again, I think they're going to make moves, but I think from a bottom 6 standpoint, like I just don't think they're deep enough right now. I think they rely heavily on Nathan McKinnon and Cale Makar and Landeskog and Natchez, and they're kind of, real top heavy, where Dallas, I think, is just a deeper team from start to finish and have, I think, the best goalie right now between those 2 teams and Jake Ottinger. I think will. And by the way, Ottinger doesn't lose in Minnesota. So tonight will be a tough game for the Wild. There's no doubt about it. But I love the Stars. I love the way they've built that team. And I do think that they are, at the end of the day here in the NHL, they're going to be a team that's going to be real tough out in the playoffs. Any interesting trade rumors at this point, or is it still a little bit too early for all that stuff to congeal? It's funny. I got to meet Quinn Hughes' mom today because she works for USA Hockey, Ellen Hughes, and I really desperately we talked for 10 minutes, and I didn't ask all the rumors going on with Quinn because I didn't want to put her in that position. But Quinn is the big name right now that looks like a lot of teams are going after him, and I think that there's a lot of belief out there that he just wants to play with Jack and Luke in New Jersey, his brothers. But the one thing, just talking to Ellen today, the one thing that made it, that I was reminded of is that he grew up a Red Wings fan. He's from that area, and the Red Wings have what it takes to maybe get him. So I think the Red Wings are in on him. I'm actually going to see the Red Wings and Oilers play here in a couple hours, here in Edmonton. That's pretty much the big one. I mean, look, there's a lot of Canucks that are on the trade block right now. From a Minnesota Wild perspective, Bill Guerin continues to scour. I think they're really worried about secondary scoring here. Mm-hmm. They just had 3 days of scouting meetings that just wrapped up in Vegas. So I'll be interested. There is a holiday roster freeze in the NHL for 7 days starting on the 19th. And this is a league, as I've told you many, many times, I know fans are tired of hearing, sports writers make excuses for teams and say it's a hard league to trade in. But there hasn't been a real trade in the NHL since the summertime. And it is hard. And reason is, if you look at the NHL standings, it's really upside down. A lot of the teams that a lot of people thought would be crummy are near the top of the league. So a lot of those players. But Buffalo is a team that I think is going to make some moves. Alex Tuch, I think, could be on the move. I think Wild fans are praying to goodness that Tage Thompson will eventually say, I want out of there. I watched Tage play a couple nights ago here in Edmonton, and he was just sensational against the Oilers, like awesome. And then Alex Tuch coincidentally scored the overtime winner that game. And I got to talk to Tuch after the game, and I think he knows everything that's going on around him as well. He wants a lot of money as a free agent. So I think Buffalo and Vancouver are the 2 teams right now in the NHL that every GM in the league is really paying attention to.
We should probably check in with you on the Olympic rink situation. We talked to Louis a little bit about it, and I don't know how much time you spent talking to sources, but we keep getting these horror stories that nothing's, it's going to be down literally like to the last day, and there's a question of, I guess in some cases, well, I guess in terms of the dimensions, that's a fait accompli. There's nothing they can do about that now. Are there any safety concerns at this point? Because I thought there were a couple quotes from NHL people basically saying, well, if this keeps up, we're going to have to take a long, hard look at that. Is that just bravado, a threat, or a meaningful threat, or what are you hearing on that front?
I think it's a little bit of both. I mean, Chris Johnson and I are actually the ones that co-penned that story last week.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
I mean, literally Bill Daly did not know. I mean, originally we were told that we were wrong. And then by the end of the day, they realized we were not wrong when we told them that if you do the math here, that the dimensions of the rink is less than an NHL rink. And the reason why it was a big deal, not that it's a huge deal to shave 3 feet off. The reason why it's a big deal is that the league somehow didn't know, that USA Hockey somehow didn't know, that most of the Players Association didn't know. The only one that seemed to know was Canada. And one big reason is because they're just used to sort of converting the metrics. And when everything was given to them in meters, they realized that the rink was not up. And the reason why this is a big deal is that in the Olympics, signed by the NHLPA, it was supposed to be 200 by 85, and so it wasn't. So it's kind of embarrassing that somehow this wasn't figured out. But in terms of the quality of ice and the safety measures, it is a huge deal. Like, this building is not built yet. Like, as far as I know, I'm the only North American writer that has been to this building, because when I was there in Milan in August, I took an Uber ride out there, and I couldn't believe, I mean, it basically didn't have a roof. There was no infrastructure around the arena. There was no roads in. We had a park like 300 meters away, and I had the Uber driver just stand there as I took pictures. And so it's the United States and Canada here in Edmonton right now. They play on Saturday night, their last game, and it's the women's tournament that actually starts on February 5th at the arena, and the building is not supposed to be completely complete until February 2nd. So that's ridiculous. The hope is that January 9th to 11th, they'll at least have the ice plants in and the ice in a housing event, and that they'll be able to at least, even though the building maybe isn't fully constructed around it, which is hard to believe, that the ice will be constantly being used, where they're going to make sure that it's completely safe. Because again, you're talking about 3-4 games a day that's going to be played on this ice, and we're talking NHL men on these ice, and so they got to make sure that this ice is going to stand up. And in 2006 in Torino, that was a tournament that was really bashed a lot by the ice conditions and the way that the arena was built. And so I just think this is a major issue in a league where really they get no benefits from going to the Olympics. They don't get any financial benefits. They're sending all their revenue generators over there. And we've seen situations before where Dominik Hasek, John Tavares, guys have gotten hurt at the Olympics. Shea Theodore last year at the Four Nations. I mean, we saw Joel Eriksson come back with a broken leg. So guys get hurt at these things, and to have a situation where the IIHF has not had a building that's complete yet, and an ice that has been tested on with the Olympics in less than 2 months is just mind-boggling to me.
All right, well, try to stay warm as much as you can.
Yeah.
We've had some weird popping during this interview. Maybe it's because of the conditions. Maybe your equipment just doesn't work as well when it's minus 50 degrees Fahrenheit or whatever.
Yeah, that could be it. It could also be that I'm hopped up on caffeine right now. So
that could have something to do with it too.
Bouncing off the walls.
Safe travels. We'll talk next week. Thanks, man.
All right, see ya. Take care.
Russo
Bye.
Radio, who helps us out each and every week, of course, is on with PA Plenty as well. We have only one segment left in today's show because we've got some Vikings programming to get into, and it's Thursday, so we got major Vikings programming, and then we got Minnesota Wild hockey. So we'll wrap up, give you the highlights and lowlights of a very controversial, polarizing program today, and maybe even get to a bizarre done as a society item as well. Don't go away.
Programming on the Fan this evening, presented by American Pressure, commercial-grade pressure washer since 1975. Thank you for the show wrap.
It's the Bumper to Bumper Show Wrap.
This is the end, my only friend, the end.
I know the answer to this question because it's not related to what your answer would be to this question, because it's not related to Shea Gilgeous-Alexander, I think. Have you either seen or rented the horror motion picture that actually had some significant popularity in the theaters? I want to say, was it last summer? I don't remember exactly when it was, called Weapons?
No.
Knowing how you are about horror films, I assumed that would be your answer.
Yep.
Some of you have seen it. I didn't love it. I liked it because it was creepy. A little gross. But my issue with it is I thought it went back and forth too much between trying to be horror and almost satiric. If you want to sell me on this is grim and dark, I want it to be consistent throughout the film. But that's just taste. Amy Madigan played the key weapons character. Her name in the film is Aunt Gladys. Aunt Gladys is not quite as non-threatening as the name itself might suggest. That's all I'm going to say. I don't want to ruin it for people. She's the key to a certain extent, evil figure that sets into motion so much else that goes on in the film. Well, apparently Variety did an interview with her. And I don't know if they asked her this question or she volunteered this. Amy, on why her weapons character, Aunt Gladys, resonates so deeply with audiences. Quote, people actually like Aunt Gladys. They kind of want to hang out with her. I'm very, very happy and grateful that the gay community and the drag community have really accepted Gladys. The people that I've talked to have said, we're the other, we're the outsider, and we're not supposed to fit in, and Gladys does in a weird way. And now they have really helped her spread her magic around. As one pithy, snarky online individual noted via X, in the film, among other things, she forces a gay man to headbutt his boyfriend to death.
Oh.
Now, this strikes me as one of those examples of where you're trying too hard to make whatever politically correct statement that you think that you're going to feel better about, or you are taking what is essentially a horror film to another place that it doesn't belong because it's going to make you feel better about yourself or your relationship with the quote-unquote gay community. I have absolutely no idea. But it's like, what are you smoking? You're trying too hard to be sociological in a way that I don't think has any damn thing to do with the film. And again, if you come out of this film going, Aunt Gladys is misunderstood, God bless you. But that's, I think, for most people, not going to be their first thought. Now, if you want to like her in almost like a macabre sort of way, I guess you could. But the idea that I'm feeling pretty good about myself with the gay community because I was told, that we could kind of relate to that character, to a character who routinely, on the basis of a very complicated potion and mixture of things, including blood, revels in killing people. Now, she may have her own reasons for that, but murder's still murder as far as I'm concerned. So the idea is like, just scratch your head and say, why are you trying this hard to create these sorts, this notion that there's something sociological here that I can pat myself on the back feeling better about that the gay community has really accepted Aunt Gladys.
They're rallying around Aunt Gladys.
Who in one of the grossest parts of the film basically directs that this is a married couple. One of them's the principal of the school.
Spoiler alert.
Sorry. Murders
for Aunt Gladys,
his significant other. Like I said, headbutting him about 4 dozen times.
Oh, my
gosh. It's the whole, not your kind of film.
No, it is not.
Definitely not.
No, it's not.
Now, if the person being headbutted was Shea Gilgeous-Alexander, you probably would love it.
No,
I'm just kidding.
You're wrong. You're wrong.
As Mace would say. All right, we're out early for Vikings programming.
Yep.
What's
the
tonight?
Hour of Power. It's the Vikings podcast, Vikings tailgate.
Okay, excellent.
And then Wild Stars coverage starts at 6:45. Puck drops 7.
So, Vikings tailgate, is it like they're actually in a tailgate lot and then they do shows from there? They do interviews?
Kind of. It's Cy Amundsen, the comedian.
Oh, that's right.
Who has one of his comedian buddies from the other side join. So it's like you're at a tailgate. Because they're just going back and forth about their teams.
Gotcha.
It's good.
Gotcha.
It's good. And Tatum Everett does the podcast.
Okay.
Nordo usually joins. Sometimes they have a player. It's good.
All right. So that's the lineup the rest of tonight. If you missed earlier parts of the show, Sean Salisbury went deep at, it was like.
If you need more peer progression in your life, if you haven't gotten enough this week, Salisbury's for you.
Yeah. Well, unless you believe in it, and then you might be disappointed by the fact that he doesn't hate it. He says he understands it.
It's not his style.
But he doesn't prefer it. So he's on the Kurt Warner side of this thing. Orlovsky's on the KOC. Who's our offensive coordinator?
Wes Phillips.
Wes Phillips, their side, right? They believe. Are they religious about pure progression? At this point, they must be, because that's all they've talked about is pure progression.
Now, they've been asked about it, fairness to them, every press conference now since the original.
But they must have brought it up.
Wes did.
Yeah, that's how it began.
And that's how it all began, and then KOC had to talk about it. Speaking of Orlovsky, did you see his Joe Mauer-related tweet yesterday?
I did not.
He was doing a high school game last night, Orlovsky was, and he was essentially the Gatorade Player of the Year in 2000 in Connecticut, I think is where he's from.
Okay.
And he had huge numbers, but I think he lost the National Player of the Year to Joe Mauer back then because they had a graphic of it, and he tweeted it and said, Joe Mauer who? Which, with all his yardage and all these things, 25 years later, it still bugs him. Which is, I thought, hilarious.
That is funny. That's very funny.
Mauer,
I didn't even know Orlovsky, but I guess that probably makes sense.
He could sling it.
He could sling it, that's true. Dr. Dan's inbox was 4:30. Major disagreement on between Guard Team and Oklahoma City Thunder, and the fans are 80. Well,
not the Thunder necessarily.
Well, yeah, but
because Harden is where I went. Harden and Luka and Thunder for sure a part of it.
And Russo Radio 502. Back tomorrow at 3. We hope you'll join us then.